Hey guys. Hey, good news. I'm getting my own place again soon. How about I talk about my experience with ENFJs? I've known a lot of ENFJs. I'd say them and ESTPs I've probably known the most of. I've had a lot of ENFJ friends. My best friend from my childhood was an ENFJ. He was kind of a sad thing. He grew up in an abusive household, so he had issues that probably aren't typical for ENFJs. Uh, so he did a lot of acting out and stuff. He had very, very strong opinions and completely unwavering in his opinions politically and everything. Even at a young age, like around age 10, he already had strong political opinions and stuff. And at that age, I had no opinions at all. At that age, I was just a kid wanting to have fun, and so he'd always, want to have these political discussions. I didn't become interested in politics until I was like 23 or 4. We had kind of an interesting relationship. I was kind of a bigger kid, and I knew martial arts. I wasn't even super big. I just knew how to I wasn't afraid of bullies. I've never been afraid of defending other kids and myself. And he was a smaller kid. He got picked on a lot. And I was kind of like his protector. But we're also friends, so obviously I'm gonna protect him, So he got bullied a lot. Anyway, so what else? Not just my best friend as a child, but my grandfather was an ENFJ, and probably the most loving person I've ever met, especially for a man. He's just very loving, especially as kids. He'd always tuck us in whenever we came to visit, and always sit there with us and talk to us and tell us stories and stuff. Very affectionate too. Lean in real close, and we had my brother and I had very fond memories of him. He was a really good, really great grandfather. Anyway, but yeah, he's actually the paternal grandfather, so the father to my INFJ dad. Anyway, though, he was very supportive, extremely supportive. Anytime we kind of grew up 1,000 miles away from them, so we talk to him on the phone every once in a while, and he'd always tell me the same thing. He'd always tell me whenever I was talking about what I wanted to do in college, what I wanted to go study. He'd always say, "You can do whatever you want, whatever you set your mind to, whatever your dream is, you can do it. You can accomplish it." Always told us that. But there was this one time. Sometimes he would give you his opinion, though. Like I told him, he asked me what I was passionate about, and I told him music. And he actually told me not to pursue that. He told me because he had known people that basically had a hard time making ends meet with that kind of, when really, if you really like something like that, you like something you're passionate about, you're gonna, the bills would get paid, I'm a firm believer that you could pretty much make money doing anything. I made money when I was a kid, just selling nunchucks. I made a decent amount of money for a 10-year-old kid too. I made them. I've always been entrepreneurial like that though. I always have my mind kind of buzzes with those kind of ideas all the time. Hey, I could sell my information. I could sell an ebook, and then I have that passive income for the rest of my life. All I have to do is write this ebook and be really good at marketing it, getting people to buy it, and then I literally get paid the rest of my life. And that's not the only passive income you can have. I'm a big fan of passive income. Yeah, my grandfather, really great guy. He was very smooth. Even in his when he was pushing 80, he was very smooth. Smooth. Everyone liked him. Literally everyone. Sometimes with ENFJs, I've noticed, it's interesting because they actually help me learn about myself. It's interesting because they're almost the opposite type as me, and they help me learn more about myself because they are strong in FE, which is my inferior. They kind of go right for my FE, or I don't know, it's interesting. They can get things out of me really quickly. It's they go right to the root of issues. Not always, though. Sometimes, FE types have a tendency to kind of almost be too harmonious, like not avoid telling the brutal truth, you know, for the sake of harmony. Sometimes I can get on ENFJs' nerves sometimes. They think I'm too brutally honest and I need to tone down the way I say things and stuff. But other than that, ENFJs, I've had really good relationships with ENFJs. They tend to really like me, tend to kind of be drawn to each other. Like I said, I've had a lot of ENFJ friends, like best friends too. I always become best friends with them. And vice versa, I'm like their best friends. Weird. But anyway, and I had one girlfriend that was an ENFJ. And, you know, we had kind of a turbulent relationship, but a lot of that was just differing, a lot of that was just differing values and stuff. She had some weird ideas because she kind of saw her parents' relationship as perfect, like ideal. You know how NFs get all idealistic? Because she saw that her dad basically just bent over backwards for her mom and never spoke up about anything he wanted, any kind of desire, and he did it to please her. And she basically saw that, my ex basically saw that as what love is never expressing what your desires are and just doing everything for the other person. It's like, there was this incident, we were at a sushi bar, and I'll try certain kinds of sushi, but other kinds just look gross to me. And there was this, like, I don't even know what it's called, like this shrimp looking thing that's raw, you know. And she asked me to try it. She's like, "Will you try it for me?" And I'm like, "No, I'm not trying that. I don't want it." And she kept asking, "Do it for me though." I'm like, "No, I'm not doing that." And she actually like left. She left. She was so upset. And dude, I put my foot down on that one. I'm like, that's ridiculous. You know, and that's what it was. She's like, "You don't sacrifice for me." I'm like, what? So basically, it's like putting a piece of shit on a plate, being like, if you don't eat that, it means you don't sacrifice for me. So I mean, my TI was going crazy on that one. I was like, okay, that's ridiculous. Anyway, though, she actually realized she wasn't always that bad, but she had some weird ideas about relationships, and she was young. You know, NFs do have a tendency to idealize relationships, especially when they're young. They're young and they don't have much experience with relationships. But anyway, even she, though, later realized, yeah, I guess that was kind of weird. I was kind of overboard with that one. But anyway, I hope this was interesting. I feel like I'm just kind of rambling. But yeah, that's my experience with ENFJs. I do tend to really like ENFJs. I think sometimes they can be a little too like tacked over truth. But, you know, that's just kind of the nature of their FE dominant position. But sometimes they can also be like, they're kind of a paradox. Sometimes they're very blunt, too. So, yeah, guys, hope you found this interesting. And have a good night.